Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, Ananda alerts of missing children to be displayed on digital screens in public spaces. As part of efforts to locate missing children, an initiative is to be undertaken to broadcast the message to the public on digital screens under the Ananda alert system. The Child Protection and the Family Services Agency says the move boosts the efforts to get more children home safely. The alerts will include the child's photo, physical description, and the contact details, and will remain on screens until the case is resolved. CPFSA has signed a separate memorandum of understanding with Intelligent Multimedia Limited and the Visual Vibe subsidiaries of Kintyre Holdings, operators of Jamaica's largest networks of digital display boards, to assist in finding missing children. The signing took place on June 12. Through this partnership, real-time alerts for missing children will now be displayed across the Visual Vibe's expansive digital screen network, reaching high-traffic town centers and the key community locations island-wide, CPFSA said. This initiative is a powerful step forward in our mission to protect Jamaica's children, using technology and innovation to help bring them home faster, the agency added. Chief Executive Officer of the CPFSA, Loretta Adams Thomas, noted that 1,011 children went missing in 2024, of which 898 returned home and 6 were found dead. Some 107 children are still missing. These statistics should rock us to our very core, and as a nation, we have to find a way to make this disturbing reality a thing of the past, Adams Thomas said. As we continue to modernize the Ananda alert system, we are making a deliberate effort to collaborate with companies that are aligned with our mission to protect children. The partnerships with Intelligent Multimedia Limited and the Visual Vibe are a part of the CPFSA's initiative to operate at the first world standards in our approach to child protection and recovery, and to collectively lay the pathway for fulfilling our vision of Jamaica becoming the place of choice to raise families. We welcome others to come on board, and we are calling on corporate Jamaica in particular to partner with us to protect our children, to keep them safe, and to bring them home, she said. For his part, Tyrone Wilson, chairman and the CEO of Kintyre Holdings, told the news that he views a Visual Vibe as more than just a digital advertising network, but as a national platform for impact. Wilson said he partnered with the CPFSA and the Ananda Alert Secretariat to help protect Jamaica's children. Through this initiative, our screens will share vital alerts and awareness messages, turning public spaces into hubs of vigilance and support. This isn't just advertising, it's about using our reach to tackle one of Jamaica's most urgent issues. Our children are our future, and we all share the responsibility to keep them safe, Wilson said. Our children are the future, and ensuring their safety is a matter for all of us, said Mark Robinson, General Manager of Intelligent Multimedia Limited. We are proud to use our digital advertising network with over 50 locations island-wide to assist in reuniting children with their families. It is not just a good cause, but a necessary one, he continued. Ananda alerts are Jamaica's official child recovery tool for high-risk missing children and are already disseminated through SMS and the Ananda Alert WhatsApp community. Public sector wage negotiations off to rocky start. Wage negotiations between the Ministry of Finance and the trade unions representing public sector workers have started on a sour note. This after the Finance Ministry submitted its counter-offer to the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions last Thursday. The JCTU submitted its 2025-2027 wage and fringe benefits claim to the government last November, seeking an increase of 15% in year 1 and 10% in year 2. But the Ministry of Finance, in its counter-offer submitted to the Confederation last week, proposed a 4-year contract. The Finance Ministry has reportedly offered an increase of 0% in year 1, 2.5% in year 2, 2.5% in year 3, and a 2.5% increase in the fourth year, a total of 7.5% increase over 4 years. President of the JCTU, Saint Patrice Ennis, told the news that the offer was strongly rejected by the unions in a letter sent on Friday to Finance Minister Favour Williams. He said his members are unhappy and the Confederation has requested an urgent meeting with the Finance Minister. While articulating his organization's disappointment with the government's initial offer, he conceded his understanding that that is part of the negotiating process. Nevertheless, he said that such was the extent of his members' disappointment that they have instructed the executive body to seek clarification from the Finance Minister regarding what format, how long, and what are the parameters for the negotiations. What is the expectation of the government from these negotiations? Wage negotiations between parties were scheduled to begin in March, but the government had requested a delay in the talks until the end of April.
We're disappointed with the response, but we understand that it's part of the negotiation process. But many of our constituents were so disappointed that we were instructed to have a meeting with the minister to see what format, how long, and what are the parameters for the negotiation. What is the expectation of the government from these rounds of negotiation? We have written asking for an urgent meeting so that we can get an understanding of the ministry's thinking and what is their expectation regarding these negotiations. And so we are awaiting the minister's response regarding such a meeting with the JCCU negotiating team to see exactly where we are going and to determine the way forward, because the initial response was not something that our membership found to their liking.
UWI professor weary of term limit law. Professor of Political and Social Psychology at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Christopher Charles, has expressed the reservations about implementing term limits for elected representatives and the prime ministers in Jamaica. This stance follows a recent RJR Gleaner Don Anderson poll, which found that nearly 76% of respondents supported term limits for councillors and members of parliament, while 77% believe there should be term limits for prime ministers. While acknowledging the view that term limits help to prevent dictatorships, Professor Charles argues that imposing such limits would place restrictions on people's choice of their representatives beyond the 2 terms. He contends that where constituents have good political representatives who are delivering, it would be foolhardy to just have a structure that gets rid of them.
If you have elected representatives who are very good at what they are doing and they are delivering, I think it would be foolhardy to just have a structure that gets rid of them. They are delivering it, and that becomes a problem because the term limits robs the people of their choice over time.
Director of Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, Anton Thompson, who participated in the same discussion, said that the poll results signal growing distrust among the Jamaican electorate and coincide with what his organization has been observing, a growing distrust and a growing unhappiness with the political representation that the people are seeing, which is symbolized by the low voter turnout that we have been experiencing over the past few election cycles.
The results of the polls that you've mentioned certainly speak to what we are finding, are growing distrust, a growing unhappiness with the political representation that people are receiving, which is symbolized by the low voter turnout that we have been experiencing over the past few election cycles.
But Professor Charles believes effective development requires long-term planning, which a term limit might hinder.
Development requires a long-term trajectory, right? Major developments in the country, and especially the ones that we are grappling with, requires long-term thinking and long-term planning, and allowing the people to be able to reward people who are performing. Additional terms, more than 2 or 3, is very important.
Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.